Did you ever think that how the Google Maps find out the location of a place, and that is to in an exact location every time, no matter where we are standing or the location of which place or which city or which village we are finding out? In today's video, we will find out the answer of this question. But yes, here I need to clear one thing, that one video is not enough for this. We will need another one. So in this video, we will cover the half part of this entire answer. So it is a very interesting thing, which as we will proceed, you all will get to know that how it is very interesting, that how the maps or in the making of the map or in the process of the making of map, how the exact location of a place used to be find out. So let's start without further delay. So here you can see I have drawn a globe, though it is not looking good enough, but yes, we can work with it. So we know that our Earth is a spherical object, though it is not a perfect circular or perfect round shape, but still it looks like an orange, bulging at the bulging at the middle part and tapped or flattened at the poles, two poles, that is on the top and bottom. So as it is a spherical object, so that is why it is very difficult to find out the location of a place in a spherical object. So thus idea of some imaginary lines have been developed by the human beings, so that we can find out the location of a place perfectly, irrespective of its shape or irrespective of the difficulties that we generally face. If you take a ball, you can take the example of a ball. It is very difficult to find out an exact point on the ball which you might have kept your finger on it few seconds back, and as you move the ball on your hand, you will not be able to find out that point where you have kept your finger earlier. Why? Because it looks same from every corner or every point or every side. The same problem we face in case of Earth. So here you all have seen the globe, how it looks. So here I have also drawn one such globe. So you can see on the middle of this globe one line, or in originally also globes used to have such iron sticks inside it, which joins this is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. So these two poles are joined by that iron stick. But in reality, no such stick is found on the Earth. But yes, this line or this stick is an imaginary line which is named as axis, and it is an important imaginary line. So starting from this line, we will proceed further, and our topic, as you can see, today's topic is parallels and lines of latitudes. With the help of parallels or lines of latitudes, and another set of line is there which are called meridians or lines of longitude, we find out the location of a place. So today we will discuss about the parallels or lines of latitude. So the first thing in this process is we need to know about is the axis, which is an imaginary line that joins the North Pole with the South Pole. Connect the North Pole with the South Pole. And our Earth also rotates on its axis, on this line, on this imaginary line or on this axis, the Earth rotates from west to east direction. So here you can see I have written about this axis. First thing, what is written? Axis is an imaginary line connecting the North Pole with the South Pole. The next thing is, axis is not a vertical or straight line. Also need to remember this, that the axis is not a straight line. It is not a straight line. It is a vertical line or bend in this way. That is why you can see on the globe, the Earth is placed in such a way, the globe is placed in such a way that it looks a little bent in this way. So axis is not a straight line or vertical line. Straight or vertical lines used to look like this, and axis is not a straight line. It is a little bit bent. How much it is inclined? It is inclined by 23.5 degree. The axis is inclined by 23.5 degree. The Earth rotates on its axis from west to east direction, and that is why we see every day the sun rising in the east or and setting down on the west. Actually, the sun do not rise or set. Sun is standing in its place. Sun do not move from its place. The earth moves. The earth rotates on its axis and as well as revolves around the sun. And due to this rotation of the earth on its axis from west to east direction, that is why we see the sun just moving in the opposite direction, that is rising in the east and setting down on the west. Just like here we can take the example of travel. When we travel in bus or in train or in car, when we move, we can see on the direction, in which direction we are moving on that vehicle. In that we can see that on the roadside we can see all the objects are moving on the back side. If we are moving in which direction, on the opposite direction we can see the objects which are standing on the roadside, they are moving. So the same thing happens in case of sun and our earth. As earth rotates from west to east, that is why in the opposite direction we see the sun is moving from east to west. Next one is the speed. That at what speed the earth rotates on its axis. The earth rotates on its axis at almost approximately 1609 km per hour. So you can imagine how fast our earth is moving on its axis. Now let's move on to the next one. That is the next part of this topic. So now we know about one imaginary line that is called axis, which joins the North Pole and South Pole. In our list, the next one is the equator, which is a parallel line, and as well as it is the longest parallel or 0-degree parallel. So equator is what? It is also an imaginary line which is running from west to east direction, and it runs from the middle of the earth, entirely just exactly from the middle of the earth. And these are all complete circles. Equator is a complete circle. That means it is surrounding the entire earth. Okay. From the middle of the earth, it has drawn or it has imagined. Always remember, these lines are all imaginary lines. So this is an imaginary line, equator, and it has surrounded the entire earth, or the middle part, through the middle of the earth it has imagined, and it has surround or it has imagined through the entire earth from the west to east direction. Then the next point is important thing which we need to know. It is that equator divides the earth into two equal halves. You can see that is why also it is called equator, which divides our planet into two equal halves. The first part, this part is called northern hemisphere, and this part is called southern hemisphere. It is the starting point of all the parallels. It is also the starting point of all the parallels, and that is why its latitude is 0 degree. Now what is latitude? Latitude means the distance of a place from the equator towards the north and south of our planet. Means when we measure the distance of a place from this equatorial line towards the north or towards the south, then that distance is called the latitude of that place. So as we start measuring the distance from equator, so that is why the equator is the starting point of that measurement, and that is why the latitude of equator is 0 degree. So equator is the starting parallel as well as the 0 degree parallel. The length of the equator is 40,075 km, which is the longest in its category. In the all other parallel lines, there are total 181 parallel. Next we will discuss about it. So among all of these parallels, equator is the longest one, which is having a length of 40,075 km. So as I said, there are total 181 parallels have been imagined on the earth. Equator is the starting parallel or 0 degree latitude, which is having the 0 degree latitude as we measure the distance of any place on the earth from the equator. So that is why that distance is called latitude. So equator is the starting point, so that is why it is the 0 degree latitude. After equator, similar type of parallel lines have been drawn on the northern hemisphere as well as in the southern hemisphere. There are total 90 parallels have been drawn on the northern hemisphere, leaving apart the equator. Okay, equator is separate. After equator, more 90 parallels have been drawn on the southern hemisphere, and another 90 parallels have been drawn in the first 90 parallels are drawn on the northern hemisphere, and another 90 parallels have been drawn in the southern hemisphere. So that is how the total number is 181. 90 on the southern, 90 on the north, 180, and plus 1 equator. But yes, the 90-degree parallel and north pole and the south pole, in these two polar poles, the parallel which is drawn, that is the small dot only. As we can see, the equator is the, as I have already said, that equator is the longest parallel. And as we move towards the north pole and towards the south pole, the length of the parallels goes on decreasing. When we move from the equator towards the north pole, one after another, the parallel lines which have been imagined there in this part, all are, as we are moving towards the north pole, their length continue to decrease. In the same way, in the southern hemisphere also, as we move towards the south pole, the length of the parallels continue to decrease, and ultimately when we reach at the north and south pole, these parallel lines, the parallel line which is drawn here, that is becomes a small dot. This is another reason why some of the countries do not, or some not countries, some of the geographers do not consider the 90-degree N or 90-degree S parallel as a parallel line, as these are not lines, a complete line, these are small dots. That's why some geographer differ in this part. So they some have the concept of having that there are 179 parallels, but yes, most of the majority have accepted it as 181 parallels. Now the parallels, the distance here, we can see that there are 90 parallels on the northern hemisphere, 90 on the southern. And as well as the distance between each of the parallel is 1 degree. All the parallels have been drawn in a 1 degree distance, and which is this 1 degree distance is in the surface, the 1 degree distance equal to 111 kilometer approximately surface distance. Now how this distance is measured in degree? Here we can see, this is the, suppose this is the center of the earth. It is the center of the earth. So from this center of the earth, this is the 1 degree parallel, not parallel means N, and 2 degree not parallel. Always remember, when we mark the parallels, or when we, you can see from 1 to 90, up to 90-degree parallels, that means 90 parallels are drawn on the northern hemisphere and 90 on the southern, and all are having the same numbers. 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, all have been numbered in this way. So how we can divide them, or how we can separate them, that on which direction, on which hemisphere it has been drawn, by taking the reference of this N letter. N and S. N equal to northern and S equal to southern. So whenever we recognize a parallel, we always write these letters, or these letters on the side of that number, which recognize or which make us understand that about which parallel we are talking. So here we can see 1 degree not parallel and 2 degree not parallel I have drawn, and from this center of the earth, it is the center, you can see we have taken the reference of the middle of the earth, or center. So from this center, when we make a straight line, draw a straight line up to this 1 degree parallel, or up to this first parallel from the equator, then the angle which is formed here, the measurement of this angle is 1 degree. Similarly, from this same center, when we draw another line up to the 2 degree parallel, or the second parallel in the northern hemisphere from the equator, so the angle which is created, that the angle of this, the measurement of this angle is 2 degree. That is how we get the 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree parallel. That is how the measurement is done, or the distance is measured in degree. That 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree. In this way, all the parallels which have been drawn here up to 90 degree, all that you can see, if we divide the earth into 4 pieces, okay, if we make another line here and divide the earth, you can see that 4 separate pieces are formed, which and each of these are creating a 90-degree angle. So this is how, if we divide these angles in this way, from the center of the earth, all the parallel lines are joined from the center of the earth. So when these are joined from the center of the earth through this drawing a line, then they form this type of angles, 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree angles. And this is how we get the parallels at a distance of 1 degree. And now this 1 degree distance is this 1 degree distance between the parallel in the surface is 111 kilometers. The surface distance between each of these parallel. Now we know that parallel lines, which are called parallel lines, that the two lines which are drawn in a particular distance, maintaining this same distance throughout their journey. When two lines are drawn maintaining a same distance throughout their journey, then those lines are called parallels. Here we can take the example of rail tracks. The railway tracks, these are two tracks. The iron tracks which are placed, those are always maintain a same distance between them. So similarly, the parallel lines or lines of latitudes, they also maintain the same distance throughout their journey. So the surface distance between these two parallels or between any two parallel is 111 kilometer approximate, and the angular distance is 1 degree. Another important thing which we need to know, that generally on the surface, on the ground, we measure the distance always in kilometers, in meters, in centimeters, in this way. But in case of parallels, when we take the reference of parallels, in case of parallels, the distance is always measured in degrees, minutes and seconds. 1 degree here is equal to 111 kilometer, 1 minute is equal to 6068 feet, and 1 second equal to 101 feet surface distance approximate. So clear up to this much. Next, the next part is the parallels. What are the names of this parallels? Now the parallels which are drawn on the northern hemisphere, they are called north latitudes or north parallels, and the parallels which are drawn, or lines which are drawn on the southern hemisphere, they are called south latitudes. Okay, so the parallels drawn on the northern hemisphere, we call them north latitudes, and as well as we signify them with the letter N. Suppose if we are taking the reference of 1 degree north parallel, then we will always write 1 degree N. Here we will write N, here 2 degree N, 3 degree N, 4 degree N, in this way 90 degree N. Similarly, if we take the reference of the parallels, any of the parallels drawn on the southern hemisphere, then we will always mark them with S letter. 1 degree S, 1 degree, 2 degree S, 3 degree S, in this way up to 90 degree S parallel. So now we know that there are total 181 parallels imagined on the earth. Now let's see, among these 181 parallels, some important parallels are there. What are they? The important parallels are Tropic of Cancer, whose latitude is 23 half degree N, that means drawn on the or imagined on the northern hemisphere. The next one is Tropic of Capricorn, whose latitude is 23 half degree S, that means it is located on the southern hemisphere. Next one is Arctic Circle, 66 half degree N, and Antarctic Circle, 66 half degree S. Now, these parallels, why these are important, and as well as till now we read or we discussed that the parallels which are drawn on the surface of the parallels which have been imagined, they have the distance of 1 degree between each other. So in this way, total we are having 90 parallels have been imagined on the northern hemisphere and 90 on the southern hemisphere. Then why these extra parallels, half degree, 23 half degree N, 23 half degree S, 66 half degree N, 66 half degree S, why these parallels have been imagined? Sorry. What was the need of these parallels? Why these have been drawn? Now let's find out the answer of this question. These parallels have been drawn to locate the sun's position on some important dates. Here you can see some important dates I have written. First one is 21st June and second one is 21st December. Now why these dates are important? On this date, on 21st June, the Earth during its revolution around the sun, it reached at that point, or at which point, at some point where the sun's rays fall vertically or directly on this point of the northern hemisphere, that is 23.5 degree N latitude. On this point, the sun's rays fall straight, or vertical rays or direct rays fall here. And on that same date, the sun's light or sun's rays reach up to the horizon, up to the level of horizon on 66.5 degree N latitude. Okay, horizon means here, if suppose this is the Tropic of Cancer and this is the Arctic Circle, and here the sunlight reach directly overhead on the Tropic of Cancer, and in this way a little slanting way on the Arctic Circle. But it is the highest point for this. It is the highest position of the sun for this point. After this position, after this position, the sun do not reach up to the or do not cross this position, or do not cross this point on this part of the northern hemisphere on this 21st June, which is called the summer solstice. Okay, so that means on this date, from this date on or around 21st June, the summer season starts on the northern hemisphere. And on this date, the sun's rays fall straight over the vertical, or straight rays fall on the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree N latitude. And as at this point the earth reaches on a particular date of the year, that is why these extra latitudes have been drawn. Okay, and at the same time, on this same date, the sun reached at that position of the northern hemisphere where the 66.5 degree N latitude. At this point, the sun remains for the entire 24 hours from this day, on this day, 21st June. And from this date, the duration of the day start to increase from the Arctic point, Arctic Circle, up to the North Pole. We all know that the two poles of our Earth, they experience 6 months day and 6 months night. So this 6 months day period of the North Pole starts on this day, 21st June. Okay, and after 21st June, on 21st June, sun rays fall directly over the Tropic of Cancer. And as we move from the Tropic of Cancer towards the North Pole, the length of days continue to increase. On the same day, 21st June, the sun remains on the sky of the northern hemisphere on this point, 66.5 degree N latitude. On this point, the sun stays on the sky for entire 24 hours. And since this date, the length of this sun remaining on the sky continue to increase, and it lasted up to 6 months on the northern hemisphere. On the same date, the opposite thing or opposite phenomena occurs in case of southern hemisphere. From this 21st June, the winter solstice starts in the southern hemisphere, and thus from the 21st June, the South Pole, it started to experience this 6 months long night period. Okay, so 21st June is the summer solstice for the northern hemisphere. That means summer season starts in the northern hemisphere, but in opposite, southern hemisphere experience the winter season, starts to experience its winter season, and the 6 month night period starts in the South Pole. Just on the opposite, on 21st December, the same thing happens in case of 23.5 degree S latitude. That is, sun's rays, the earth while revolving around the sun, it reach at certain point where the sun rays fall vertically on the 23.5 degree S latitude on this day, 21st December. And thus, on this day, 21st December, 66.5 degree S latitude, it on this point, Antarctic Circle, this is the Antarctic Circle. So on this circle, the sun remains for entire 24 hours. And as we move towards the South Pole, the length of the days continue to increase. and ultimately the 6-month long period of days starts in the South Pole. That is why, due to these reasons, due to these important dates, and due to this change of season on the northern and southern hemisphere, these extra parallels have been drawn or have been imagined, that 23 half degree north parallel, 23 half degree south parallel, 66 half degree north parallel, and 66 half degree S parallel. Now, some of you may have this question may arise in your mind, that does it mean that 23 degree north parallel or 23 degree south parallel or 66 degree north or 66 degree south parallel does not exist? No. Yes, they do exist. 23 degree north parallel or 23 degree south parallel, 66 degree north parallel, 66 degree south parallel, all these parallels are exist. But these half degree parallels have been drawn extra due to the sun's position, to locate the sun's position on these particular dates of the year. The 23 degree north parallel and 23 degree south parallel. The 23 degree north parallel, it is located on the south of the Tropic of Cancer, which is having a distance of near about 50 or 51 kilometer distance between these two parallels, as well as the 60 degree north parallel, it is located on the south of the south of the Arctic Circle. That means 66 half degree N parallel. So the distance between these two also have the same, almost 50-51 kilometer. Similarly, in this part, southern hemisphere also, the distance between 23 degree and 23 half degree S parallel is near about 50-51 kilometer, and the distance between 60 degree and 60 and a half degree S parallel is almost 50 and 51 kilometer. So these are about the parallels, about the important parallels, about the important dates we have discussed. Now let's discuss about the heat zones and locate the heat zones with the help of parallel lines. Now, what are heat zones? Heat zones is that the earth, the surface of the earth, or all the places of the earth do not receive same amount of heat and light from the sun. We know that the earth is spherical in shape and it is continuously rotating and revolving around the sun, and the sun is on its place, standing on its stable in its place. So due to this rotation and revolution, the different parts of the earth got the opportunity to receive heat and light, but yet the amount is not same. And on this difference of and on the basis of this difference in the receive of heat, sun's heat and light, the surface, the earth or our planet has been divided into 3 heat zones. What are they? First one is the torrid zone, second the temperate, and third is the frigid zone. So which part is the torrid zone? The area located between the Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn. That means 23 half degree N to 23 half degree S latitude. The area located in between these two latitude lines, that area is called the torrid zone. This torrid zone receives the maximum amount of heat and light. Why? Because the vertical rays or straight sun rays fall on this zone almost throughout the year, and that is why the temperature in this zone remains very high throughout the year. Next one, the temperate zone. So there are 2 temperate zones. One is on the northern hemisphere, other one in the southern hemisphere. So the location of the north temperate zone is beyond the Tropic of Cancer and up to the Arctic Circle. This entire part from the beyond the Tropic of Cancer and up to the Arctic Circle, beyond the 23 half degree N latitude and up to the 66 half degree N latitude. This area, the area or the locations which are fall in this place, these areas are, this area is recognized as the temperate zone, which have a moderate climate, not very cold and not very hot. The south temperate zone is located in this part, starting from the or beyond the 23 half degree S latitude and up to 66 half degree S latitude. This is the south temperate zone. Here also the temperature remains moderate almost throughout the temperature remains moderate, not so cold and as well as not so hot. Yes, during the winter seasons, both of these temperature zones, the temperature decreases gradually, just like in torrid zone also during the as the summer season, as the winter season we experience cold, but yes, much less than the other parts, that means the other areas of the earth. Most importantly, we can see here frigid zone. From its name, we can get the idea, we can understand that why it is called frigid zone, as these two zones are the extremely cold areas or extremely cold zones of the earth. Why? Because extremely slanting rays reach on these two pole regions or polar regions. The location of north frigid zone is beyond the Arctic Circle, 66 half degree L latitude, beyond this latitude and up to the 90 degree L latitude. That means up to the North Pole. Similarly, the location of the south frigid zone is beyond the 66 half degree S latitude and up to the 90 degree S latitude. These are the locations of North frigid zone and South frigid zone. And why these are called frigid zone? Because in these two zones, the extremely slanting rays used to reach, and that is also for 6 months only. These two regions, these two places, frigid zones, they experience or they receive sunlight for 6 months only, 6 months day and 6 months night. And the 6 months daytime, when they receive the sunlight, that is also very difficultly. This is the reason why here the temperature remains very low, and throughout the year the water in these two zones found to be in solid form or in solid mode or in ice mode. That is why these two zones are called frigid zone. So this is all about the parallels or lines of latitude. In today's video, we discussed about axis, we discussed about equator, as well as the other parallels and between the distance between them, as well as the important parallels and the heat zones. In our next video, we will discuss about the meridians or lines of longitude. To find out the location of a place, parallels are not enough. Only one set of line is not enough. We also need another set of line. In next video, we will discuss why we need that another set of line, and we'll discuss in detail about that set of line. So please do watch the video. And if you like it, please don't forget to press the like button and subscribe the channel. Thank you, and we'll see you again in our next video.